Farming in Africa is the most prevalent economic engagement. Indeed, it is a way of life, as 80% of the people of this vast continent depend on it for their livelihood. Grain production is the most preferred activity in this sector. For many years, tilling and land preparation took place the same way year in year out. The farmers worked hard to get a better crop in the new season. However, the weather always ruled and determined what they got. If the yields were good, other challenges lay along the way. Poor storage, post-harvest pests, theft, greedy middlemen, and poor prices, to name a few. There was no guarantee that the farmer would benefit fully from their sweat. When market liberalization was introduced to most African economies, the farmers were least prepared, as they knew little about how to manage their farms as enterprises. Too many farmers, especially smallholders, still struggle to market their output. After waiting for almost a year to harvest her crop, this farmer is disappointed with her earnings. She hardly recovers her input. Smallholder farmers suffer an unending cycle of low income in spite of their hard work. Sale of produce at farm gate and at a nearby market has not helped the rural farmer much. The traditional way of marketing farm produce, especially grain, is no longer sustainable.
Mahindi yangu mimi mwenyewe nilijaribu kusanya nikapeleka katika WFP na nikapata malipo ya 12,500. Alafu baada ya hapo wenzangu wengine wakajaribu kupeleka katika mahindi yao katika warehouse ambaye waliweza kulipwa pesa 3,300.
Solutions to this problem have now been developed and are offered to farming communities in sub-Saharan Africa by the Eastern Africa Grain Council. The Eastern Africa Grain Council is a private organization based in Nairobi, founded in 2006, that brings together the main public and private grain stakeholders in the region.
As an organization, our core mandate is to promote trade in the region. We therefore require investments, and we require policies that are going to support. And part of the reason why we're carrying out this course on commodity financing is so that we can upscale the capacity of our stakeholders to be able to understand structuring trade, and as stakeholders to structure trade and finance more so that we can get more trade being financed.
Maize was introduced to Africa by Spanish missionaries at the turn of the century. It is the most commonly traded crop in Eastern Africa. Wheat follows closely, and demand is steadily on the rise, especially in urban areas as a result of changing diet trends and ease of preparation. Wheat imports make up an average of 70% of the total product consumed in East Africa and is set to rise to 80% in 2016. Most millers in Kenya and Uganda are already expanding their processing capacity.
We receive maize from small-scale farmers and large-scale farmers, and as well as also traders. We receive this maize with the quality which is required, especially 13.5. After we have received, these maize have been poured into the ground for further inspection and as well as also rebacking. From there, after rebacking, we restock the maize for curing.
Grain movement in East Africa is determined by supply and demand factors. Of these, pricing is the most important. Even geographical borders cannot stop grain from reaching markets, mostly found in the key urban areas of East Africa. A vibrant and chronicled informal economy drives most of the commodity trade in this region and is growing. A recent study by EAGC reveals that informal cross-border trade makes up to 60% of grain trade.
We carried out studies and surveys to look at how trade was happening and how much trade was going on in the region, and we found out a number of challenges. One of them was policy-related challenges, especially barriers to trade that are introduced every so often. Tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers to trade, sometimes the use of sanitary and phytosanitary conditions, which end up blocking trade. The other side, we realized that a lot of trade that is taking place in the region in grain and staple foods is largely informal, and we realized that the level of financing of this trade was very, very low. And that actually was one of the reasons we realized why trade in food in the region was not as much as it should be.
Structured trade is organized networking between different interdependent stakeholders within a sector: farmers, traders, warehouse managers, bankers, processors, agribusiness agents, and even commodity exchange operators who willingly enter organized, regulated trading and financing arrangements. The chain is supported by various other actors, including transporters, banks, and other service providers such as insurance firms and the government. The components of the structured trading system include good post-harvest management, reliable commercial storage and warehousing, grain standards that are strictly adhered to, efficient trade financing through warehouse receipt system or collateral management, relevant and timely market information, effective commodity exchanges, and trade contract and dispute resolution mechanisms. Government, development agencies, and the private sector in Africa are involved with creating sustainable systems that will allow efficient production, handling, and trading in agricultural commodities. They are promoting dependable marketplaces where producers and consumers can meet and exchange their grain as well as other goods and services. They have helped establish a structured trading systems involving improved warehouses, warehouse receipts, and commodity exchanges. They have also helped set up the rules that buyers and sellers follow. A structured trading system enables food to be moved from place to place, so ensuring people do not go hungry. It ensures that the food complies to the standards for quality and food safety. It saves money and reduces the risk for everyone involved along the production chain. It makes it possible for farmers to get loans which they can reinvest in their firms, spurring production and boosting their income. High costs at each stage of this production chain results in less product flowing along the chain, and the product that reaches the consumer is more expensive, thus resulting in lower profits for everyone.
Traditionally, we crack it by testing with our teeth. So when the teeth goes soft, when it is soft, then we know that one is not yet dry. Anything that is not dry, there is a price that is lower than the usual normal price that we buy it at. All traders have their storage within the market. So, but this market sometimes is not enough. But storage in the market is good because hardly do we find thieves in the market. The market is well secure. We only have an issue of the rodents. They spoil the sacks. Wherever we have packed it well, they always go and eat it.
If these problems are solved, the agricultural commodity market will have a huge potential in spurring economic development and ensuring food security. Structured trade depends on having good quality grain that conforms to certain minimum standards. Producing good quality grain has many benefits. Farmers can sell their grain to different buyers and get a higher price for it. Traders, transporters, and other stakeholders in the grain industry can handle more grain and sell it to new customers, including regional and international markets. This leads to better business for all. Home storage of grain by farmers rather than in commercial warehouses has a negative impact on the quality of the produce. Most of the time, they end up with poor quality grain that is not properly dried and has a heavy presence of foreign material. It has to be transported to processors from disparate locations, and the price is never certain. In a nutshell, the situation is always dicey and there are no guarantees for profitable trade in the commodity. These are known as transaction costs. They raise the cost of buying and selling grain and other commodities. It is problems like these that hamper agricultural development and economic growth in much of Africa. They affect everyone along the value chain. Farmers have to use the right post-harvest methods for the grain to be at a grade needed by a structured grain market. Clean grain is then stored in open weaver sacks made of sisal, jute, and polypropylene after proper treatment. The bags are stored off the ground on pallets away from the walls. Other storage methods include metal or concrete silos. Elizabeth Sang is a member of the Kipchamo Poverty Eradication Project.
I farm 35 acres maize and I harvested 570 bags. Mimi ni member wa Kipchamo Poverty Eradication Project ambayo tulianzisha 2008 tukiwa na 815 members. Nimeshasikia maneno ya East African Grain Council. Najua activities ambayo wanafanya, wana train farmers wakuje pamoja to aggregate their maize alafu wause pamoja. Niliweka mahindi kwa warehouse receiving system ikakaa for 3 months. Walikuwa wana receive at the market value which was 2,300. Nikapewa 65% of 2,300 and I was given 580,000 because I had deposited 400 bags of maize.
A well-run, professional and certified warehouse keeps the grain safe, clean, dry and free of pests. It all starts with a good post-harvest management. This means making sure that grain is harvested properly, shelled, dried to the recommended moisture level, sorted and cleaned to remove all foreign material. It is then bagged. The depositor is given a warehouse receipt stating how much grain or what type he or she has deposited at the warehouse. The warehouse operator guarantees the safety, quality and quantity of the grain and is legally bound to provide it to the depositor in the future. When farmers' grain is held securely by the warehouse, they can concentrate on other tasks as they wait for the appropriate time to sell their produce. In the meantime, farmers can take their receipts to banks to borrow against them for purchase of inputs and paying of other services. They watch out for the best price so that they can cover the cost of storage, the interest on the loan as well as some profit.
When we are receiving maize from a truck, we come and do the analysis according to the East African standard, whereby we check the moisture, whereby we use the moisture meter here. This is around 11 milligram. This I will show you the demonstration how we do it. It here in let's say body rice, moisture now here is 13.3, whereby we are taking 13.5 and below. Well, now it is recommended.
Currently we are using the GSOCO system to receive maize from farmers. A GSOCO is basically an electronic grain trading system that links the aggregation centers and certified warehouses like NAFIX to agrovets and to participating banks. Using the GSOCO, we are able to print a GRN that a farmer carries together with the weighbridge ticket. Basically what I do, I go to the GSOCO platform in my laptop, go to purchase, and once I'm there, I search for the farmer if he's an existing farmer. For example, the one we are trading with today is Stephen Mayo. His name is already in our database, so I search for his name. I come choose the commodity he has brought to us. I key in the net weight. I key in the total number of bags that we have received, and after that I save the transaction. Once this is done, a farmer goes with a copy of the GRN that looks like this, and also a copy of the weighbridge ticket that looks like this. From there, the maize is accepted and we put it in our warehouse.
At NAFIX, we receive maize from small-scale farmers and large-scale farmers, and also traders. We receive this maize with a quality which is required, especially 13.5. These maize have been poured into the ground for further inspection and as well as also rebacking. After rebacking, we restock the maize for curing. This maize will remain at a stock maybe a duration of maybe 3 months while waiting for disposal into the market.
A warehouse receipt is a document that proves that someone has deposited a certain amount of grain in a specified warehouse. The person who deposited the grain is called the depositor. This may be a farmer or a group of farmers, a processor or trader. The depositor takes the grain to a warehouse. The warehouse operator weighs and tests the grain and gives the depositor warehouse receipts showing the weight, quantity and quality. The depositor can take the warehouse receipt to a bank and use it as collateral for a loan. When the grain is sold, the warehouse delivers the grain to the buyer. If applicable, the bank is repaid the loan plus interest and the warehouse operator is paid for the cost of the storage. Even after these deductions, depositors get a better price than if they had sold the grain at the time of harvest. For any market to function smoothly, there is need for constant and up-to-date information available to all stakeholders. The Regional Agricultural Market Information Network (RATIN) is a web-based regional marketing information system that provides a grain trade information within the grain sector in Eastern Africa. Operational since 2006, the information system was developed and is hosted by the Eastern African Grain Council. It is a non-stop shop for timely, accurate and relevant market information for grain stakeholders in Eastern Africa. When people buy grain, they need to know exactly what is in the bag or silo. If it is for human consumption, it is to be high-quality grain, free of contaminants and suitable for milling into flour.
You cannot dispose the maize into the market when the maize is invested. The reason why we are stacking this maize is because if you don't stack the maize, definitely that maize will not preserve good quality, and as well as also to listen for accountability. At any given time, that maize, the moisture is not the same. So when you stack the maize properly, then you are giving a good aeration. Because if your product is not sound quality, then you will remain with that quality in your godown.
Grain standards are vital in structured trading systems. They specify the grain characteristics, the limits that are acceptable and how to measure them. They identify economic factors that are important to the end user. They establish the common language and set rules between trading partners. They ensure food safety. They reflect storability, which refers to how long the grain can be stored for. They facilitate trade. They support food security by making the grain available everywhere in the shortest time possible. They promote quality by providing incentives to grain producers and handlers. They form a basis for pricing because people know what grade they are dealing with. They can make informed choices on how to buy or sell their produce for. The platform is expected to provide an ecosystem for structured grain trade in the region and has many advantages. The farmers benefit from the GSOCO system by gaining access to credit while waiting for prices to improve. They further enjoy reduced post-harvest losses as a result of professional storage, cleaning and drying, guaranteeing better prices. For the millers, GSOCO guarantees availability of quality stocks and reduced need to carry out their own sampling to check quality and incidence of aflatoxins. Millers also don't have to buy and store all commodities at once during the harvest season. Traders benefit from more reliable supplies of unknown quality, access to better markets, both local and regional, and improved storage and handling facilities. Through structured trade finance, more money is available to buy more grain stocks. All these is capped with efficient and reliable trade information for decision making. Mombasa, Kenya, the 8th edition of the Commodity Trade Financing course gets underway. The course is organized by the Eastern Africa Grain Institute, the training arm of the Eastern Africa Grain Council. For the structured trading system to be upscaled effectively, a grain training program is essential. Financial institutions are crucial for the successful operations of structured trade. Indeed, these institutions are the oil that lubricates smooth transactions and facilitation of activity right across the production and distribution chain. So far, the institute has trained 150 individuals in the span of 1 year, including bankers, warehouse operators, shipping and clearing agents. The training program has been carried out in Rwanda, Malawi and Zambia as well.
This workshop was particularly important because we've had a request for us to do warehouse receipting for farmers, particularly in Laikipia and North Rift. But we were not prepared. We didn't have the capacity to structure any product or even financing arrangements, and therefore we've sent before I came